Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to review Scream 2, which wasn't which I believe is actually this is the movie where they actually do talk about the sequel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about the sequel being worse than like how many movies are the sequels actually better than the originals. And so at this point, I believe the premiere of the Stab movie based on the murders of the first movie has finally come out. So when they're at the theater, it opens up with uh, Jada Pinkett's character, who is now Jada Pinkett Smith, who played Maureen. Um, and her boyfriend was, oh, it must have been Phil, right? Her boyfriend was Phil. Yes, and Heather Graham was the one who played uh, Casey in the movie. And who else? Oh, and Liev Schreiber Cotton Weary has been exonerated from his yeah, he's been exonerated. So he's set free. He's out of, custody now, obviously because we know that he didn't actually commit the murder of Sydney's mother. Um, so Nev Campbell is the one who played Sidney Prescott. I don't think I even said that in the first movie or first review. Courtney Cox plays Gail Weathers. David Arquette plays Dewey Riley. At least they're putting their full names in here this time. And then we had a few new characters into the mix. Sarah Michelle Gellar played Cece. Who else was in this movie? Timothy Olyphant played Nicky. Jamie Kennedy was back in this movie. Jerry O'Connell played Derek, who was Sydney's new boyfriend. Who else? Portia de Rossi was actually one of the sorority sisters, as well as Rebecca Gayhart was one of the sorority sisters too. Who else was in this movie? Oh yeah, Luke Wilson was the one who played Billy in the Stab movie. David Warner was Sydney's drama teacher. Good God, there was somebody else that was in this movie that was kind of important, but I can't remember who it was. Oh, come on now. Yeah, where is she? She's got to be here somewhere. Maybe she was more up here in the... No? Where is she? Okay, come on now. I know it was one of the mothers from The Big Bang Theory that played the other character there. Oh, Laurie Metcalf played Debbie Salt. Okay, so she was kind of like the competing. She was the more local news person compared to. Uh, oh my God, compared to Gail. And she was always trying to get the scoop from Gail on what was happening with the murders and so on and so forth. And so this one, the first murder is actually Jada Pinkett Smith's character, Maureen, and her boyfriend Phil. They're the first two to go, and she dies in the theater during the premiere of Stab. So now these murders have happened, so Sydney knows that there's basically a copycat killer. And it was kind of cool the way that they followed a pattern. So they were picking people with like some variation of the names from the first movie. So it was either like a last name or maybe like a few letters from one of the first people's names in the first movie. So they were going after, they were kind of making their own list of people, right, to kill. So the two of them were the first. Who else? Who else did they kill in this movie? Oh my god, I'm trying to think. Who else dies? Like, who else died that was just, like, super, super important? Oh, yeah, obviously Randy dies too. He gets killed in pretty much broad daylight, like in a van, which that was always the goofiest kill to me, I think, was that he just gets straight into a van and killed and nobody even realizes what's going on and people were just walking by and so on and so forth. It was kind of funny. Oh, yeah. Who else gets killed in this movie? There were a few guest appearances, right? So, I believe, does Cece die? I think Cece dies. Obviously, who else dies in this movie? I'm trying to think. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character dies. I don't know if either of the sorority sisters get killed, do they? I don't think so. And then I think, yeah, Sydney's boyfriend gets killed. I think Dewey gets stabbed, but he lives. It seems that a lot of these characters are always getting really hurt, but they never really die. Yeah, so I was right there. Okay. So I think this, oh yeah, the principal of the school, right? I thought he was the killer for so long. But in this movie, I think they did an even better job of keeping you guessing of as to who the killer was because the principal seemed very, very psychotic with students in this movie, like threatening to kick them out and so on and so forth. And obviously, people pulling pranks on each other with the ghost face mask and him saying that wasn't insensitive and he should have them or expelling 2 students from the school. Yeah, because who played the principal in this movie? I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure it was this one with the principal in it, was it not? It had to have been, if I'm remembering correctly. It's gotta be. Has to be this one. He's here somewhere. Principal. Huh, cool. Wes Craven even acted in the film. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Huh. I didn't even know Matthew Lillard was in this movie. Guy at Party. Uncredited. Interesting. Who played the principal? Was it in this one or was it in the third one that the principal was in it? That's weird. It has to be this one. Swear to God. Principal, what? Yeah. That is just so weird. That doesn't make sense to me. I swear to God it's the... Yeah, because the third one is where they go to the... Yeah, to the movie set. So yeah, it was... Yeah, interesting. So yeah, Scream 2 has to be... Oh, so she's in college now. Okay, so this was college. Interesting. Okay, so this is supposed to be 2 years after the events of Scream. Woodsboro, yeah. Okay, so in this one, the interesting thing is that it was actually Billy's mom, and also one of the film students that was really into the horror movie genre, played by Timothy Olyphant, Mickey, who were the two killers. Now, I would never expect Timothy Olyphant to be a killer anyway, and it was kind of interesting that she was always this reporter was always after Gail. It made sense at the very end of the movie why she was actually trying to find out so much info about the killings, I guess, was to keep her kind of, away from being a suspect, I suppose. Um, and obviously she's going to go after Sydney because she's Billy's mom, and she believes that she was a good mom to Billy, blah, 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 blah. And, Billy did no wrong sort of thing, but clearly he did because, um, yeah, he he killed Sydney's mom, so he wasn't necessarily the greatest person in the world. And it turns out that I guess it made sense because the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, seeing as Billy's mom is also trying to kill somebody too. Um, yeah, so who else was it in this movie that dies that was like kind of important? Because, yeah, I know Cece dies, and obviously Sydney's boyfriend. But yeah, I don't really recall who else dies in this movie besides Randy, because he was the other big one that was in the first two that, well, yeah, that really made an impact in those movies. So yeah, the end scene was very interesting on the stage, or yeah, like on the stage, and Sydney using all the props to end up killing um, Billy's mom. And then it always seems that they do this in these movies where the killer is always ready to come back for one last jump scare, right? Like in the first one where Billy kind of like leaps up and then she shoots him. Well, in this one, it turns out to be that Mickey ends up jumping up at the very end of the movie. And yeah, he gets shot a whole bunch of times. It was just a yeah, this one was a little more comical, I feel like, than the first one, which is why I rated this one a 7 out of 10 compared to the first one. It just wasn't as good. Not to say that all movies, I mean, some sequels are better than the originals. It does happen, but with this one, it just wasn't the case. And clearly, it wasn't quite as memorable of a movie as the first one. Now, I know I've seen all these before, but for some reason, this one's just kind of slipping my mind as to everything that happened in it. Oh, the principal dies too. What am I thinking? Yeah, the principal gets killed as well. That was right. But there had to have been somebody else that died in this movie. Wasn't Jenny McCarthy in this one, or was she in the fourth one? She must have been in the fourth one then. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, 7 out of 10, and I guess we'll see you guys in the next review. Bye-bye for now.